Today's Sunday, October 17th, 2021. I barely have had time to process that we're in the month of October, and here we are more than halfway through it. And so this video is talking mainly about two things that I think are only going to worsen until the very end, when Jesus comes back. And that is time moving more quickly, or days being shorter. That is what we think of generally as time. When we think of seconds on a clock, that's what it is a representation of the day-night cycle, how long it takes the sun to circle overhead and then back to the same spot. That's 24 hours, and that's what, we just define that to be 24 hours. So if that cycle starts moving faster, 24 hours is still 24 hours. It's just that now hours are shorter than what they used to be. And that's exactly what's happening now. The day-night cycle is faster. Seconds are faster. Anybody can go try to count by 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. That's how you used to count seconds. It doesn't even work anymore. Okay, so one thing that I wanted to talk about that I keep forgetting to mention, not only is TikTok probably the biggest app right now, and that's a reference to, in my opinion, a clock ticking, and almost in like a threatening, or like something's gonna tick tock, like you're waiting for something. And then also Zoom is, almost everybody has had to use Zoom in the past few years. And so in my opinion, the names of these two huge apps, they kind of go hand in hand to talk about this phenomenon of, in the end, the days are shortened, prophecy by Jesus Christ. But the way that we interpret that is time moving more quickly. Where, of course, there's this notion of time that is totally outside the day-night cycle, but most people, they think of time as whatever your watch tells you. And what is a watch? It uses some sort of vibrating crystal to tell you what a second is. Okay, so there's this huge sense of nostalgia for the 90s, or maybe for what I would just say, nostalgia for pre-9/11, really. And I think just a big aspect of this is the time was so different back then. It's just one of the biggest feelings I have is how lazy the days felt lazy and long and drawn out. And I remember just so often waiting, and when you would look at the clock, it would be painful how slow the clock would go. And people are going to have all sorts of excuses for things. Oh, well, you were bored. You were stuck in class with a clock there, so time's going to move more quickly. Okay, well, that doesn't address, first of all, what? Are you completely forgetting what I just talked about, the 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi thing? That's something anybody can try for themselves and see that seconds are shorter than they used to be. So it's not even, like, debatable at this point. It's just, there's other ways to tell. And one of those is just knowing and trusting the way your memory, the way things were. Things have changed. And anybody who can remember the way things were will remember just how drawn out a minute was. And over the course of all my videos, there's just tons of examples I've come up with that other people realize too. I just got a comment the other day of somebody saying, oh, dang, yeah, holding your breath for a minute is like nothing these days. And it used to be a big struggle. It did used to be really hard to hold your breath for a whole minute. Nowadays, you can do it and you're not even out of breath. Anyways, what I wanted to talk about in this video is how vacations are so different. And I've been on a pretty long vacation just away from home, staying with family for a month now. And it feels like nothing. But obviously, I mean, everybody feels that these days. Weeks don't mean anything anymore. Months, how the heck are we already halfway through October? It's honestly feels like we just began. So everybody understands that. But another thing about the time crunch is how spaced out activities are and how few activities there are. And so this is just something you have to remember. What were your vacations like when you were young? And what are vacations like now? So I'll just tell the examples that come to me right off the top of my head. My wife's family, they were mentioning old vacations that they went on in the same place. And they were like, oh, remember when we came here, 10, 15 years ago, and that day where we went and visited this, and then later that day we went and visited this place. And that's how people have memories of old vacations. You used to be able to go do a lot of things in a day. And people talk about this just with their day-to-day life with schools. Oh, I was in this club and this club and this club, but nowadays it's just not physically possible. I've been on vacation for almost a month, and it's like we've barely done a handful of extra activities that you would always be doing back then. For instance, so I'm in Southern California right now, and we haven't had a chance to go to the beach. And that would normally be a thing that you would go do that once a week, easy. Just there used to be so much time laying around for people to get bored, and then you used to get bored and time would crawl. So you would come up with something and you would go do it. Nowadays you get bored and the day is gone. So you don't even have a chance to go do something. And if you do go do something, your day just gets completely eaten up by doing one thing. So yeah, I mean, that's just my one example. I've been on vacation for a long time now. The activities, the like extra activities that I've been doing, I mean, people have still been having work and stuff, so it's not like a true summer vacation. But still, the types of activities that we've done is like go to the park. That's like your one big activity for the day. Go on a walk and then go swimming later. That's your whole day, and you're exhausted afterwards. And like I said, if this was back in the 90s, we would have gone to the beach like a handful of times already. And it's like we've been here a month and haven't even had a chance. Time just moves way too quickly. There's not enough time to go do everything that you used to do. I mean, just one more thing, it's like people instinctively know too. Have you just noticed how the way that people organize events is just different? And I've noticed today that people have they'll say, oh, we should do this, we should go do this, we should go do this, but it's like it always falls through. Nothing ever comes of it. Just one example, there was a family friend who was like, oh, we should do a barbecue over at my place before the week's up. And you just never hear from them. And there's like local family friends who I'm like, oh, we should stop by and show them, meet up, talk, say hi, how's it going? But you just never have the time anymore. So that's basically it. Okay, the second thing, the sun is so bright. I just did a community post about, this was on that day that I just referenced, where the big activities for the day were going on a short walk around the neighborhood and going swimming. And the sun just completely drains you of energy. And none of this stuff happens. So this is just one thing that I've noticed. Nothing just happens like at a leisurely pace anymore. Nowadays, if you're going to go for a walk, you're walking. And you're not taking time to smell the roses. You're on a mission to go walk and get that done with. And then you look at the clock, and that little walk around the neighborhood took an hour and a half. If you're going swimming, you just go, and it doesn't feel like you're in the pool for that long, but on the clock, it says that you've been in there for 2 hours. I mean, the list is endless. It really is. Okay, the sun. It's actually connected with this, because the sun, the moon, the stars, this is one of those things where the scientists will tell you a half-truth. You know how everything's electric? They love pushing this idea of the electric universe. And people love saying, oh, everything's a vibration, man. And that's because God made this place with his word. Vibration. Everything probably is electrical at a certain point, but the heavens certainly are electrical. And my opinion, what's happening, more energy, it's just like more energy is being pushed into the system, and that everything feels closer. The sky feels closer, the sun feels closer, the moon feels closer. And it's like more energy is being put into the system. So not only does the sun start whizzing around faster and faster, but it starts getting brighter and brighter. And where this comes into end times and how things will only get worse. I think the days will only keep getting shorter and shorter, and the sun is only going to keep getting brighter and brighter, because it's like more energy keeps being dumped into the system. And if you read about end times, wacky stuff starts happening with the sun and the moon. It goes dark, like a light bulb that just totally burnt out. It's like the sun is going to burn out. And that's when hell breaks loose on earth. All the plagues are... Go read Revelation. But anyways, this is just another thing. The days are only going to get shorter and shorter. The sun is only going to get brighter and brighter. A thing I hate about this new sun is you're blinded I'm blinded at all times of day if the sun is out. And that's not the way it used to be. It's not just because I'm older. I remember being blinded by the sun when I was younger, but it would have to be like a special scenario. Like I would be in a dark classroom and then go out to the bright concrete and I would be blinded for a few minutes. Nowadays, just being outside, I can't see anything at any time of day. Mornings did not used to be blinding. Sunset did not used to be blinding, but these days it's dangerous to drive. Have you guys noticed that? It's dangerous to drive these days without sunglasses. And that's not the way it used to be, and I think it's only going to get worse and worse. You can tell that they desperately try to spray the morning and at nighttime. And I think a big part of it is because it's just so bright. It's very dangerous to drivers. Okay, that's it for this video. I just wanted to put something out there. God bless everyone.